Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Robert van Kerk, and I'm the Chief Technical and Innovation Officer for Sibanye-Stillwater. And I'll be talking to the future Rhyolite Ridge joint venture. In 2021, we acquired a 7.1% share in Ioneer. At that time, we entered into an agreement with Ioneer to establish a JV to implement the Rhyolite Ridge project. In this regard, we still need to contribute 490 million for a 50% interest in the Rhyolite Ridge JV. Now, the area I'm going to be talking to consists of two basins, and I'll discuss that in a little bit more detail later. But for this purpose, I would like to say that the JV includes only the South Basin. Having said that, Ioneer is to contribute another 100% of the North Basin to the JV for an additional consideration from our side of 50 million. Ioneer is at the moment the operator of Rhyolite Ridge, and they will remain the operator of the JV going forward. Rhyolite Ridge is one of the most advanced lithium projects in the US. It is a large, shallow lithium boron sedimentary deposit in Esmeralda County, western Nevada. And if you look at the right-hand side of the slide, and there Rhyolite Ridge is depicted by way of that star, we can see that the project is approximately 70 miles to the west of Tonopah, 200 kilometers by road to the south of Reno, and about 230 kilometers by road to the north of Las Vegas, in an area of existing infrastructure. Ioneer completed a feasibility study in April 2020. This feasibility study confirmed the project economics and confirmed a very, very significant operation, producing 2.5 million tons of ore, or mining 2.5 million tons of ore per annum, producing 22,000 tons per annum on average of lithium carbonate and another 174,000 tons per annum on average boric acid. At that stage already, the project had reached an advanced stage of engineering, and a lot of work has been done subsequent to that. The feasibility study also envisaged a 2-year development cycle. Insofar as the permitting is concerned, the project is in the final stage of federal permitting. Perhaps I should refer you to the scale at the bottom of the page, where we can see that an air quality permit and a water pollution control permit was already received in 2021. The mine plan of operations, which needs to be approved by the Federal Bureau of Land Management, has been submitted, and a notice of intent published on the 20th of December 2022, marking the onset or marking the start of the NEPA process. The NEPA process continues, and Ioneer is of the opinion that a draft environmental impact statement will be issued by the end of this year. That being the case, a record of decision is expected in the first half of next year, and Rhyolite Ridge can commence operations in 2026. Having a quick look at the Rhyolite Ridge processing plant, the plant consists of 3 sections. We've got the crushing and the vat leaching section, the boric acid production section, and the lithium carbonate production section. As I said, the nameplate capacity is 2.5 million tons per year, and the plant will produce 22,000 tons of lithium carbonate and 174,000 tons of boric acid on average per year. Sulfur, either in the form of pellets or in the form of liquid, will be delivered to the on-site sulfuric acid plant. Water will be supplied from local wells, all within a radius of about 1.5 miles of site. And 35 megawatts of electricity will be provided by a steam turbine generator. The plant, will be owner-operated. If I can refer you to the right-hand side of this slide, and within the green envelopes, we have the mineralized South Basin and the mineralized area in the North Basin. And we can see that the South Basin is approximately 8 square kilometers and the North Basin 14 square kilometers. Now, the feasibility study is less than 15% of this total footprint. And the South Basin has been extensively drilled by Ioneer. The North Basin has also been well defined through 50 holes, or more than 50 holes for that matter, that was drilled by US Borax Rio in the 80s and 90s, and a few more holes by Ioneer in 2016. Again, if you look at the picture on the right-hand side of the slide, the resource potential of the South Basin extends to the north, it extends to the east, and it also extends to the south. And then, of course, the resource basin of the North Basin extends in all directions because it hasn't been included yet. So zooming in on the resources, we only have declared, or Ioneer has only declared resources for the South Basin. They were updated in 2023, and a total mineral resource is 3.4 million tons. Again, if I can refer you to the illustration on the right-hand side of the slide, that is an east-west segment of the South Basin, and immediately to the left of that is a stratigraphic column displaying the mineralized package within the South Basin, and it starts with the M5 layer on top, then there's the B5 layer, the S6 layer, and the L6 layer. And that package is in excess of 150 meters thick in the center of the basin. There's essentially three types of lithium mineralization. The first type, or type 1, is lithium with high boron and low clay content. Yeah, there's 157 million tons of resource containing 1.2 million tons of lithium carbonate equivalent. The second type, or type 2, is lithium with high clay content. Yeah, there's 75 million tons containing 1 million tons of lithium carbonate. And then type 3 mineralization is lithium with low boron and low clay content containing 1.1 million tons of lithium carbonate. It is only type 1 mineralization which is included in the 2020 feasibility study. Ioneer is busy evaluating future growth options, future growth potential of the area with conceptual studies of all these layers or all these zones within the South Basin, and then also in the North Basin as well. In September of this year, Ioneer shared the test results for almost 80% of the 360 million tons mineral resource, and they maintain that it can be processed in a similar manner to type 1 mineralization. This slide demonstrates the multi-generational growth potential of the area. By multi-generational, I mean what can be expected in the near term, what can be expected in the medium term, and what can be expected in the longer term. In the near term, we have the feasibility study, which, as I mentioned, only focuses on type 1 mineralization. And this is going to be a significant operation. It's going to have a life of 26 years. And the point I'd like to stress here is it is only 41% of the total type 1 mineral resource. And it focuses predominantly on the B5 horizon, or the B5 layer, and to a lesser extent on the L6 zone. In the medium term, we've got the type 2 and the type 3 mineralization, which is the M5, the S5, and the L6 zones. These zones, by the way, are already being mined, but they are being spoiled to the side, or alternatively, they are being stockpiled as part of the mining process. Ioneer is currently processing, or Ioneer is currently evaluating the processing of these layers at the moment. And then in the longer term, we've got the North Basin, which as you've seen, is much larger than the South Basin. It is well defined through historic drilling, as well as a gravity survey, and leach tests in this regard are being progressed as well. This is a snapshot of what the total mineral resource looks like, and it's been divided into two categories. We've got the high boron content category, and we've got the low boron category. And if you look at the second column from the right, boron grade parts per million, you can see that the boron grade in the high boron category is much, much higher than the boron grade in the low category. However, if you look at the lithium grade, which is the column which has been bolded, you can see that the lithium grades to a large extent are the same within the high boron as well as the low boron categories. In total, there is 360 million tons of ore resource at a lithium grade of 1,750 parts per million, containing 3.4 million tons of lithium carbonate equivalent. The average boron grade is 6,850 parts per million, containing approximately 14 million tons of boric acid. This declaration does not include the drilling program that was conducted in 2022 and the drilling program that was conducted in 2023. So, in conclusion, what does Rhyolite Ridge offer? Well, it has the right products, lithium carbonate and boric acid. It's in the right location. It is in the US. It is well positioned to serve the US EV battery supply chain. It has an experienced team. Bernard Rowe has been with this project from the beginning. He explored this region. He led the team that developed the feasibility study, and he will also lead the team that will eventually develop the mine. We've already discussed the expansion potential in the medium term and in the longer term. There is third-party validation. We like this project. We have validated this project. The US Department of Energy has also validated it through their loan of up to, or through their conditional loan of up to 700 million US dollars. And there is a very clear path to production in the near term. So thank you, everybody. I think I'll leave it there, and then I'll hand over to Neil. Thank you.